Hello and welcome to the North York Lodge number 602. As this is our 150th year anniversary celebration, we have compiled a multimedia presentation of a short history of our lodge to date. I hope you find it informative and enjoyable. Thank you.
In 1830, Joseph and Edward Pease, together with three others, purchased 500 acres of land on the south banks of the River Tees for the sum of £30,000. Their intention was to build a new town following the extension of the Stockton and Darlington Railway to Port Darlington, or Middlesbrough as it's now known, for the export of coal from the South Durham minefields. The five men were known as the owners of the Middlesbrough estate, and they quickly started to lay out plans for this new town. Docks were built in 1842 to handle the growing needs of the coal export trade and other industries that were brought in by the owners, such as potteries and salt works. The salt works were the forerunner of today's large-scale chemical industry. Well, this venture prospered, and 10 years later, more than 1.5 million tonnes of coal was shipped from the port. It was a discovery of a rich seam of ironstone in the Cleveland Hills between Eston and Wilton that prompted Middlesbrough's development as a major iron producer. The owners encouraged Henry Bolko and John Vaughan to set up the first ironworks, and soon scores of furnaces had been built along the banks of the Tees, but by the mid-1870s the iron boom was collapsing as steel started to replace iron. However, at this time the local Cleveland ore was too low a grade for the profitable steel production, but this soon changed with the introduction of the Thomas Gilchrist process, which made processing the local ore a practicality. It's interesting to note that in 1801 the population of Middlesbrough was 25, but 70 years later it had soared to 39,000. William Gladstone visited Middlesbrough in 1862 when he was the Chancellor of the Exchequer, and he described Middlesbrough as an infant Hercules, a term which turned out to be very true indeed. The first documented lodge in the Teesside area was the Lodge of Philanthropy in 1756, but this lodge was erased in 1838. The North York Lodge was established with the help of 7 founder members, including a member of the Cleveland Lodge, Worshipful Brother George Reed, who had been the master of the Cleveland Lodge in 1851. The North York Lodge was lawfully constituted on the 14th of December 1852, with Worshipful Brother Reed becoming its first master. During its first 11 years, the North York Lodge was actually number 876 on the Grand Lodges Register, but by an edict on the 6th of July 1863, it was changed to its present number of 602. In those early days, meetings were held in the upstairs room of the Station Hotel in Middlesbrough, rented for the modest sum of £5 per annum. A committee was formed in 1856, and it was given the task of evaluating the building of a Masonic Hall in Middlesbrough. This project was given further impetus by the appointment of Worshipful Brother Henry Thompson to Mayor of the borough. It took a few years before this project reached fulfilment, as resources were pitiful in those days. There was much distress in the town, culminating in the bread riots that in turn led to the military being summoned from York and the reading of the Riot Act from the steps of the town hall. The site on Martin Road was chosen for the new Masonic Hall, and so on the 17th of May 1860 the foundation stone was laid after a church service at the parish church of St Hilda by the Deputy Provincial Grand Master. The cost of the land was £150, and the cost of the work for the 26 by 70 foot building was £838. The Masonic Hall at Martin Road was extended twice, first in 1882 at a cost of £470 and second in 1912 when a new temple was added, this time running east to west, unlike the former which ran north to south. The North York Lodge held sole ownership of Martin Road and finally paid off the last liability in 1937. This was due to the careful administration by their long-standing treasurer, Worshipful Brother A.D. Norrie, past Provincial Grand Director of Ceremonies, who held the post for 20 years. The 14th of December 1852 saw the first meeting of the North York Lodge. 14 candidates were initiated during this first year. The joining fee was 4 guineas and the subscriptions varied from 15 to 20 shillings. A local charity fund was established in 1855 and members could contribute 6 pence per month. The recipients of this fund had to be introduced to the Master of the Lodge. A special Grand Lodge of England was held on the 17th of August 1860 in Middlesbrough Town Hall, and the 2nd Earl of Zetland laid the foundation stone of the North Riding Infirmary with high Masonic honours. 1861 saw the move to the Masonic Hall Middlesbrough completed and the constitution of the Marwood chapter. 1884, a Bible dated 1613 was presented this year to the lodge by Worshipful Brother Richard Holland. In 1894 the lodge introduced the giving of a past master's jewel to the immediate past master in recognition of services rendered. Oak dredged from the River Tees was crafted into a charity box and presented to the lodge in 1905 by Worshipful Brother Socket. A new lodge banner was designed and made by Worshipful Brother Peter Oberon in 1967. 1975, the move to Roman Road was completed. 1995, the current lodge banner was made by Mrs. King. The project took 6 months to complete. The banner was funded by donations from members. Any brother donating £10 could have his name inscribed on the base of one of the lodge's brass firing mauls. They were donated by Worshipful Brother Dave Robson. February 1972 saw compulsory purchase orders served on the trustees of the lodge stating that the Freemasons Hall Martin Road would be demolished in 1974 because it was in the path of the new A66 route through Middlesbrough. Architects were appointed and on the 25th of May 1973 it was agreed to erect a new lodge in Roman Road, Middlesbrough. Construction of the new lodge began in July 1974. And on the 10th of September 1975, the Masonic Hall Roman Road was dedicated for Masonic purposes by the Right Worshipful Provincial Grand Master, the Most Honourable, the Marquis of Zetland, in the presence of some 190 brethren. The North York Lodge played a major part in the move to Masonic Hall Roman Road. Indeed, without the lodge's assets and the support both financial and practical of its members, the building of the new Masonic Hall would undoubtedly have taken a lot longer to come to fruition. The lodge room is 12 metres by 12 metres and is designed to seat 148 brethren. It has facilities to seat 105 people in the dining room and spaces for 70 cars in the car park. The building cost a total of £120,170 to construct, and even as you watch this presentation, plans are being finalised to extend the building and its facilities. The statue of Tubal Cain that stood so proudly on top of the Masonic Hall Martin Road was lost during the demolition of the building, but was eventually recovered when a telephone call was received from a demolition yard in Northallerton stating that there was something in the yard that may be of some interest to the Masonic Hall. The Masonic Lodge at Roman Road has 12 lodges. Together with North York Lodge, the 11 other lodges sharing the Masonic Hall are as follows. Ferrum Lodge number 1848, consecrated in 1879. The Ord Powlett Lodge number 2391, consecrated in 1891. Erimus Lodge number 3474, consecrated in 1910. The Peace Lodge number 3936, consecrated in 1919. Vulcan Lodge number 4510, consecrated in 1923. Ronaldshay Lodge number 5276, consecrated in 1931. The Acklam Lodge number 6248, consecrated in 1946. And the Lodge of St Hilda number 6666, consecrated in 1948. Linthorpe Lodge number 7032, consecrated in 1950. The Dundas Lodge number 7970, consecrated in 1964. And finally Ashbrook Lodge number 9619, consecrated in 1997. And to the present. From its beginnings we move to the present day of the North York Lodge. The Lodge has 53 members, consisting of 1 Grand Officer, 12 Provincial Officers, 9 Worshipful Brethren, 30 Master Masons and 1 Fellow Craft. In its 150-year existence, 4 Brethren of the North York Lodge have received Grand Lodge honours. The first, Worshipful Brother W.H. Cowper, was appointed past Grand Standard Bearer in 1897. Worshipful Brother Cowper was a joining member of the Lodge, having been initiated into the Restoration Lodge in Darlington. The honour was later conferred in recognition of his work as a past Master of the North York Lodge, where he was a member for 25 years. 50 years later, in 1947, Worshipful Brother J.H. Thompson was appointed past Assistant Grand Director of Ceremonies. Worshipful Brother Thompson had been continually in office since 1913 and has been Director of Ceremonies for 29 years. It also helped the foundation of the Vulcan and Linthorpe Lodges. In 1978, Worshipful Brother Robert Richardson, a member of the Lodge since 1946, was appointed as past Grand Standard Bearer. Worshipful Brother Richardson was a founder member of the Dundas Lodge. Our most recent Grand Officer is Worshipful Brother Clive Gregory. Worshipful Brother Gregory was initiated into Freemasonry in 1978 and gained the chair of King Solomon in 1992. Worshipful Brother Gregory has held the posts of Lodge Treasurer from 1982 to 1990, Lodge Secretary from 1994 to 1999, Almoner from 1999 to 2000, Charity Steward and Assistant Director of Ceremonies from 2001, and he was appointed Provincial Grand Treasurer from 1995 to 2000, and has been appointed the Grand Rank of Past Assistant Grand Standard Bearer, and he's also Vice Chairman of the Provincial Grand Lodge Charity Committee. Our Lodge has supported numerous local and Masonic charities over the years and continues to support and raise funds for these worthy causes. Recent beneficiaries have included the Butterwick Hospice, Cystic Fibrosis, the British Heart Foundation and the Royal National Lifeboat Institution. During the last charity presentation evening, our lodge presented monies raised from various social events to the Stroke Association. In fact, over the last 50 years, the North York Lodge has donated approximately £100,000 to charities both Masonic and non-Masonic. Our late Provincial Grand Master, His Honour Judge Gerald Coles QC, in seeking a major project to mark the millennium, chose to continue the tradition of caring for the ancient glass at York Minster, as Yorkshire Freemasonry has long been associated with the Minster. The St William window, the largest unrestored window in the Minster, was in need of major restoration, and the project was announced at a meeting of Provincial Grand Lodge in May 1996. The very capable York Glaziers Trust is carrying out the restoration of the 100 1-metre square panels. The province committed itself to pay the trust £350,000 for the restoration of the glass and lead work, and the appeal was launched by a donation of £25,000 from the Grand Charity. Each lodge in the province was given the opportunity to sponsor a panel for £4,000. Our lodge duly complied. The 53 chapters of the province worked their way through a whole row of panels at a sponsorship of £400 per chapter, and indeed wide support was given by the other orders in the province. A Thanksgiving service was held in the Minster on the 29th of September 2000, where the Dean and Archbishop of York took part along with other dignitaries, both Masonic and otherwise. The North York Lodge regards social events as an important part of lodge life and endeavours to involve as many members and non-members as possible. Lodge socials are not only events to raise money for Masonic and non-Masonic causes, but they are an ideal vehicle to spread the word and to raise the profile of Freemasonry within the community. Lodge socials are also an integral part of attracting and retaining younger members, and they're also a great way of cementing existing friendships and making new ones. And so to the future of the North York Lodge. The recent charity evening and the open day, a day in which members of the public were invited into the lodge to look around and talk to Freemasons, was a great success. Events like these can only help to convert our detractors and let people see for themselves the truth about Freemasonry. The efforts and dedication shown by our predecessors need to be upheld and continued if the North York Lodge is to thrive in these difficult times. With the support and continued presence of our younger members, the lodge will prosper and develop, as only they can take this fine lodge on for another 150 years. With their help, the future of our lodge is bright.